I drive for Cerber. It's like Uber for the paranormal. Part 1. My name is Jim. I've been in and out of construction contracts for the last 17 years. Between those contracts, I do what I can to make a few extra bucks, since you never really know when the next contract will show up, and unemployment pays you just enough to lay awake hungry at night. Most of us have heard of Uber and Lyft. I figured it was the perfect way to sustain my takeout burrito habits until my next work order. However, my driving record isn't exactly clean. I owe a few $1,000s in fines for my DUI from 3 years ago. But before anyone goes up in arms, no one was injured and I wasn't in an accident. I was leaving the liquor store for the third time that afternoon and was busted by a cop waiting in the parking lot for me to wobble back into my car. It's pretty foolish considering the liquor store is in walking distance, but my drunk brain was more concerned with being mugged than being caught by the police. Lesson learned. I'm sober now, fatter from an oral fixation on Mexican food, but sober. When I failed to meet the requirements on Uber, I went searching online for something similar to ride-sharing or some sort of P2P smartphone type work. I came across an app called Cerber. I was reading one of those 10 ways to make money without bleeding out articles when I saw an advertisement for Cerber on the side of the article. Big orange letters glowed against the black background with the phrase, "Hellish commutes made heavenly." I found that to be cheesy marketing, but since I've never heard of this specific company before, I figured they were a startup and wouldn't be too picky about participants. I went ahead with filing out a brief application, submitted, and hoped for the best. This is where it started to get weird. Immediately after I hit submit, my phone rang. It was 11:47 p.m. when I pissed myself to the phone ringing. I looked at my phone to see unknown illuminating this screen in my dimly lit bedroom. I don't answer those calls during regular business hours, let alone during the late night. I decided to respect their privacy, ignore the call, and not bother to find out who was calling me. I shoved another taquito in my face and made my way towards my unmade bed. As soon as I dove into my flattened, stale pillows to begin my pity party, my phone rang again. It still said unknown, but it was now coming in as an emergency. Why? I answered the phone to a woman's voice veiled with a cheerful disposition that had to be fueled by caffeine and cocaine.
"Hello, is this James Edwell?" she chirped.
Yeah, who is this?
"Hi, this is Adeline with Cerber calling you back about the application you just submitted."
I was still tonguing chicken taquito out of my teeth. Hi, that was awful fast. Did I submit incorrectly? I said with clear apprehension, but moderate enthusiasm. These folks were fast.
"No, not at all."
I could hear her clicking her mouse as she spoke to me.
"I just wanted to alert you that we have reviewed your application and would like to know when you could start."
I struggled to get some pants on, cradling the phone between my ear shoulder. I finished buttoning my pants and say, "Now, I guess. Are people active this late?"
"Oh, yes. Our most active hours are between 10 p.m. and 4:30 a.m.
She stops clicking her mouse.
"Please download the application onto your phone. Quickly make a profile and you'll be ready to receive requests. Do you have any questions?"
I can hear her smiling. Gross. No, I don't think so. I say as I finish zipping up my jacket.
"Wonderful. Thank you for choosing Cerber. Give them hell, Jimmy boy."
She hung up before I could respond. Give them hell? What the actual... Okay. Well, no time to waste, I suppose. I download the app, make my profile, and mark myself as available. I drive a relatively new SUV, so I'm not exactly convinced I'll be first pick. Gas isn't cheap, and everyone wants to save money. This means I'll have some time to clean up the taco foils and cardboard boats out of my car. About 20 minutes into trying to alleviate my car of the turgid smell of jalapeno and old cheese, I got my first ring. It was a ride request for one person, a man named Ray, seeking a ride to San Francisco. The city is about an hour from where he's requesting the ride, but a drive I'm very familiar with. I tap on accept, throw the bag of trash in the garbage bin, and start heading over to the pinned location. To my surprise, I was directed to a neighborhood that was just a few blocks away from me. I parked outside of a post-80s style suburban home, coated in sharp, spackle, and salmon pink paint. From the door, I see Ray emerge from his pastel green door, and immediately, I knew something was off. Ray was obscenely tall. He had to be an easy 7.5 feet, slouching. He shoved his pallid hands into the pockets of his gray jacket, hood pulled over his head so that his face wouldn't be seen. His long, thin legs, adorning blue jeans and clean, black dress shoes, carried his slender frame at a calm stride to my vehicle. As he came closer, I noticed he was wearing a tie and a formal jacket under his normal hoodie. Different strokes, I guess. He approached my window, his head down, and said, "Jim? Yeah, you're Ray?" He sounds so normal. This man is anything but. "Yeah, would it be too much trouble to ask you to fold the first row of seats for me? Because, you know," he gestures below his torso to his knees, all while keeping his head down. He didn't want me to see his face, but I didn't feel threatened by him, so I just ignored his lack of eye contact. "Yeah, sure, no problem at all." He steps back so I can open my door and access the back seat. I folded the first row of seats, so that the third row was the only place left to sit. Ray climbs in, takes his seat, and buckles up. "Thanks, man." "Of course, I bought this thing for comfort anyway, know what I mean?" He remained silent with his head facing out of the window. Awkward. The silence of the drive was excruciating. I did my best not to spend too much time glancing back at him. He hardly moved. Every few minutes he would uncross and recross his legs. My nervous tendencies finally got the best of me, and I had to be that dick. "Those are some serious stems." "You play basketball as a kid?" Maintaining his gaze out of the window, he replies, "That's a serious gut. You eat a lot of food?" I got immediately defensive, but I brought this on myself and kept my mouth shut. "Doesn't feel good, does it? Someone commenting on your size," he said so calmly. "No, it doesn't. I apologize," I say through gritted teeth. I was no longer inspired to conjure up any more small talk for the duration of the ride. About 30 minutes later, we arrive at his destination, which led me to Old Fort Miley. I never recalled this place having an actual address. While my gaze was fixed on the location, dumbfounding me as to why anyone would want to be here this late. He slowly got out of the car and closed the door. He kept his back to me and pulled out his phone as he started walking away. I was still very much in a state of, what the hell, when I got a notification on my phone. He gave me 5 batwings and a 20% tip, bringing the grand total to $1,279.37. My jaw about hit my lap at the astronomical amount. As I brought my face up to try and stop him and alert him of what had to be a mistake, he kept walking, put his hand up and gave a gentle wave. I watched him until he was far into the trees before I finally looked back down at my phone. He left a written review for the other riders that read, "Go easy on him. He's new." What the actual fuck? I sped home as fast as I could without tipping off any highway patrol. I ran inside my house, darted to my computer, and tried to make sense of what I just got myself into. To my chagrin, I couldn't find a single thing on the internet about Cerber. Not even a website, beyond the application page they offered through the advertisement. I sat back in my chair for a moment, my hands in my lap, and continued to process everything. Who pays that kind of money for an hour ride? Who the hell was in my car? What the hell was in my car? I grabbed my phone and opened the app again. Maybe something was there that could provide some kind of answer. Well, I found my answer. I clicked on the menu option that you would see for most applications, and found a description option. It reads as follows. Cerber is a dedicated ride-sharing company that ensures anonymity and safe transportation of the paranormal. It goes on to talk about rates, amenities, and safety measures. I never had a chance to read the terms and agreements. No one does. I went back to check everything I signed, and sure enough, it's a transport service for ghosts and shit. The rates applicable to me are too good to pass up. 2/3 of what it cost to pay my mortgage was made in a matter of an hour. Maybe this is dangerous. Maybe it's absolutely insane. But I'm gonna stick this out and see where it takes me. I will update as often as circumstances permit. This is gonna be wild. This is Kinetic Symphony. If you've enjoyed this narrated story, please subscribe and like the video to help me grow. Thank you.